Welcome, beautiful people. I'm Facundo, a student of the Teacher Training College in Escobar. I'm with my partner in crime, Violeta. In this episode, we'll talk about reality of being a student while stepping into adult life.
Yes, here we want to share experiences, reflect on challenges, and explore practical ideas for handling stress, time, and personal growth.
Above all, the goal is to remind you that you're not alone. Many of us are learning to fly while still feeling the winds.
Exactly, you build a plane as you fly.
So, let's start with a big issue time. Do you ever feel like the day just isn't long enough for all you need to do?
All the time. Being a student and adulting feels like a constant race against the clock. You wake up, rush to classes, work on assignments, maybe go to your job, and by the time you stop, it's already midnight.
There's no doubt about it. It's extremely exhausting, especially when you're not used to it. When you first step into this world, you often have a distorted idea of how demanding it can be. Deadlines, term tests, endless assignments. I can't help but think about students who struggle with time management, or those who juggle multiple goals in a single week, reading, understanding, analyzing, and then applying everything in a term test. It makes you wonder, when are we supposed to actually do it all?
And let's unpack that a bit, because time doesn't slow down for anyone. You go through the pressure of a term test, and once it's over, you feel that huge wave of relief and move on to the next thing. You jumped straight back into lessons, planning, uploading marks, without realizing how much time and energy we burnt in just 2 weeks.
But, I don't consider myself a pessimist in life, so even though organization is a really time consuming task, it is not impossible. Time is always right behind us, waiting for us to say that there is never enough of it. Sometimes it feels like my worst nightmare, but it's also what shapes our journey. I think everybody needs to make the path while walking it, learning along the way how to manage the hours, the deadlines, and the balance between work and rest.
Absolutely, I totally agree. No one is saying things are always simple. Every objective has its challenges, but particularly when talking about mixing worlds, combining teaching and learning, combining being a student and being a teacher, or just as simple as combining standing in front of a class and being the one sitting in one.
That's such an important distinction. You see, a lot of us begin working before we even graduate from the teacher training program. Personally, it takes time to adapt, time to reflect, and time to grow into both roles. That constant switching shapes our determination and eventually pushes us toward improvement.
You're right. Most of us need to work in more than one institution to make a living, sometimes running from one school to another on the same day. But here comes the reflective point. Wanted to give your 100% doesn't mean chasing perfection. It means showing responsibility, doing your best with the time and energy you have, and accepting that sometimes good enough is still valuable. In fact, that's what adulting really teaches us: balance.
And since you mentioned balance, there is something I hear all the time from students. And honestly, I even said it myself. I'll sleep when I'm done with everything. Or you just need to work harder and push through.
That's a classic one, Faku. And here's the thing. Those phrases aren't always spoken out loud by someone else. Most of the time, they are internal pressures. It's that little voice in your heads repeating, don't stop, don't rest, it's never enough. And at first, it might feel like motivation, but in the long run, it's damaging. You end up sacrificing your physical and mental health. Stress builds up, anxiety grows, your sleep gets worse, and even your body reacts with headaches or exhaustion.
I totally see that. In our reality, being both students and teachers, that pressure doubles. I've seen classmates leave an exam only to run across town to teach their own classes. And if, on top of that, you carry this invisible voice saying, do it perfectly or you'll fail, the burden becomes unbearable.
Absolutely. That's why balance isn't about doing everything flawlessly. Balance means being realistic. knowing you can't do it all, and that's okay. It means setting priorities, saying no sometimes, and recognizing that taking care of yourself is also part of your responsibility. Because let's be honest, how can you be a good teacher or student if you are completely burnt out?
And you know what? I lived that. I said I'll sleep later too many times until my body said no more. Headaches, bad mood, even snapping at students. That's when I realized the body always keeps score.
Exactly. The body will always collect the bill. That's why small daily pauses are crucial. Not waiting until vacation, but creating micro breaks throughout the day. Even 5 minutes to breathe, walk, or stretch. It's like pressing reset on your mind. And second, realistic goals. Don't overload your day with 10 impossible tasks. Choose 2 or 3 that really matter and let the rest wait. It's much healthier to feel you've completed something concrete than to feel like you've failed 10 times in one go.
That hits home because when you put it that way, it's the same logic we use with our students.
Exactly. Think of how we plan our lessons. We never expect a student to learn everything in one class. We break it down into small, clear steps, always adjusted to their level. We celebrate progress, not perfection.
Right, and yet somehow, when it's about ourselves, we forget that rule completely.
Yes, we convince ourselves that because we are adults, we should already know how to manage everything perfectly. We think, I'm the teacher now, I shouldn't need short steps. But that's simply not true. Each stage of life is new, and every year brings experiences we've never had before. In that sense, we are all still learners.
That's such a powerful reminder. We don't stop learning just because we grown older or taking on a teaching role.
Exactly. Even more experienced people than us are still missing the years they haven't lived yet. The process of growing up never ends. So, when we set short, realistic goals for ourselves, we are not being weak. We're just respecting our own learning process as adults.
I love that. Realistic goals instead of chasing perfection. And, something that really helped me was having a group of classmates in the same situation. We studied together, share strategies, even laugh about the absurdities. Just knowing someone else understands lightens the load.
Community and companionship are everything. Surrounding yourself with people who get it makes the journey lighter. They help you share frustration, swap strategies, and normalize what feels overwhelming. Sometimes, what you see as a personal failure is just a part of the process, and your peers remind you of that.
It's funny how those internal pressures lose power when you speak them out loud. Being able to speak up, to show your emotions, to express your frustrations, just to talk about it and let it out somehow, really makes you feel better. It stops being that heavy weight we carry in our minds and becomes something you can actually see as possible to face.
Yes, exactly. Sharing makes it easier to get through things. You realize it's not about doing everything, instead, it's about doing something and knowing that's already enough. That has value because it means you are not just acting out of obligation, you are doing it with purpose. And always remember, if you are doing things just to tick them out of your list, you'll lose the sense of meaning behind them.
That really captures the spirit of this podcast. You can't wait to have the perfect wings to take off. You start flying while you're still building, and the real growth happens during that flight.
Adulting isn't about perfection or doing everything. It's about learning to choose, to care for yourself, and to keep moving forward with the tools you have today.
Well, thank you, Viola, for this wonderful conversation, and of course, thank you to our listeners for joining us today. We can't wait to read your thoughts, so drop a comment, tag us on social media, or share this episode with your friends and keep the conversation going.